We have one more cool corner coming up. And let's see, once again, now sharp turn and yes, here we go. Awesome. Nice, 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 nice. Like that? The Porsche Taycan entry-level model with rear-wheel drive only. Is that less exciting? Or maybe even more? We'll find out. Leave a thumbs up if you like our video and also tell me if you like the Taycan from the design, because it is really typical Porsche, but they did something special for their EV model. Headlamps here with this dot design, and our color for today is cherry red. 4 meters 96 or 195 inches is still the length, of course. Same for the entry-level model. When you approach the vehicle, hey, the door handles fold out. And when you close the vehicles, they fold in again. That's also an aerodynamic function. And also aero wheels here in 20-inch. 19-inch would be standard, but you can also pick bigger wheels, just as for the turbo models, for example. Here, rear-wheel drive only, but still the 2-speed transmission in the rear. That's interesting. And since you don't have an electric motor in the front, an additional one, a little bit less of energy consumption and so on, but also less of performance. We'll see how that one plays out very soon. And then once again here, the strong Porsche design with the strong shoulders right here. That's still a very classic thing to look at always. Wow, look at that. I mean, 3/4 rear perspective, my favorite perspective of this vehicle. Really cool, also with a light strip that goes all around the vehicle. Really beautiful, I think. What do you think? Pricing wise, of course, that's very interesting. Less than $80,000 in the US, a little bit more than 80,000 euros in Germany. So you save more than 20K if you compare it to a 4S. And yeah, then you can also live with a little bit less of acceleration. 5.4 seconds to 1 kilometer or 62 miles an hour, and 4 seconds for the 4S and around 3 seconds then for the turbo models. So yes, it's not that fast, but it's a little bit more efficient. You can then easily score some like 400 kilometers plus or 250 miles plus. Yes, it's also possible with the other models, but it's easier to reach these more realistic figures here with the rear-wheel drive model. Recharging is possible right here. It's a very interesting function. 11 kilowatt AC standard, 22 kilowatt AC optional, and then 270 kilowatt DC charging, but that's on the other side. Passenger side now, UK vehicle will be other way around, and then you can recharge that smaller or bigger battery. Today we have the bigger battery, 93 kilowatt hours, but there's also a 79 kilowatt hour battery, gross values. The net value here for this one today, 84 kilowatt hours. When driving calmly, like 100 kilometers or 60 miles an hour, here 18 kilowatt hours and 1 kilometers, that would be rather 460 kilometers or 290 miles. Well, if you drive way faster, also with some 200 kilometers or 125 miles per hour on the motorway, you can see here higher average speed, then also the consumption doubles and the range is cut in half. And now we are fast charging. It is the base model, but you can also get the bigger battery, as I said, and that's why we can also charge quite heavily. You can see here, yeah, 256 kilowatt at the Ionity charging station. This is then for Europe, this new charging networks by the German manufacturers. And in the US it will be Electrify America. And you know, with this charging power, it goes quite quickly. Of course, only when the battery is really empty. When it's a little bit fuller, the charging curve will fall down a little bit. We're still at 240 kilowatt charging speed, and that means around 17 kilometers per minute. So we have then, let's say in 10 minutes, 150 kilometers or yeah, something like 80 miles. And this already quite quick, so you can just start again on your route. Again, Electrify America charging stations would be comparable, and the plug-in charge will be rolled out through the stations, first Ionity stations, and later then also planned for the Electrify America stations, that you don't have to put a charging card or an app or something, that you plug it in and it directly charges like it is already with the Tesla superchargers. So around 50%, we were still over 150 kilowatt, and now we are approaching 80%. We're still over 100 kilowatt, so we're still going like 8 kilometers per minute. That's really impressive. But the moment we reached around 80% of the battery charge, it dropped significantly. Meanwhile, we're around 40 kilowatt. That means just over 2 kilometers per minute. So fast charging here, do it up to 80%, then it's not worth it anymore. One of the most important features in Autogefühl is always the door closing sound. Let's go. Yeah, really solid, especially for a car with frameless doors. That's not easy to do. This vehicle is equipped with the animal skin. However, you can get so-called race tech seats. They're then animal free. Also, the steering wheel comes in microfiber then. And the race tech is recommended also for better climate comfort and also for seating comfort in general. And it's available in different colors, either black or grey, or also with a bluish note, or with a mix of these colors. Showing you here some impressions from the configurator, so definitely go for the race text interior. It's standard, by the way, for the Turbo S. And getting inside, of course, with the famous shoe tab. Yeah, I mean, you have a low seating position, very sporty, but not too sporty, I would say. Definitely Porsche-like, 1m86 or 6'1", enough space over my head. You can also get a panoramic roof if you like. And then here's steering wheel control with the electric movement. So overall, and also a very good, nice build quality we find. Beginning on the left, 16.8-inch curved screen for the instruments. Then the central display, 10.9-inch. The lower display, 8.4-inch, plus an optional passenger display. Screens. Digital instruments. What's cool that in the middle part you can have the map in the central part. That's possible. Also some adjustments possible right there. But you can also have it all the way over the screen like this. And you can go always back to the power meter and also adjust one-to-one to see on the left or the right side of the instruments. Nevertheless, the classic sports chronometer should not be missing. My favorite feature, however, here the drive mode selector directly at the steering wheel, so you can easily switch it around while driving. Then you have the central infotainment wire touch, and you also have the passenger display like this. And the cool thing, of course, when you have the speed and the G-force meter, that's the most interesting thing for the passenger, isn't it? Android Auto still not available for the Porsches. The Apple CarPlay looks like this from the integration. And the Bose sound system, very decent sound, like it. Sometimes though, by the way, the screen is not that reactive, and we once also had a screen freeze, so yeah, maybe software update would be good. One thing I do criticize is here the climate control. Yes, you can also use the voice command, but still, I mean, it's so unpractical. And seat heating right here. In the Audi e-tron GT, we still have a proper climate knob to control it. That's definitely better than the solution right here. What I like about the lower screen, however, is that you have a good charging meter, and you can also see the charging speed when you are at the charging station. By the way, Plug and Charge is being enrolled to the charging stations, both Ionity in Europe and Electrify America in the US. But the charging station has also to support the Plug and Charge. It's not only the vehicle. And next to the adaptive cup holders here, this middle console, you can open the armrest. Really cramped to put your smartphone in. In the rear we have this single seat alike setup, and getting inside is also fairly easily. And you have this so-called foot garages, so you can put your feet very well under the seat because they left something out in the back battery packages for that. And you can see for 4 tall adults it does work. Of course not abundance of space, but at least also works here headroom-wise for the tall adults. Once again, the Taycan Cross Turismo will be a little bit better as for the headroom performance. Oh, you can also get a fancy rear climate unit here for the back seats. Yeah, that light strip though, Then electric hatch and 400 liters. If you want 50 liters more, go for the Taycan Cross Turismo. Then you also have a proper loading height here in the normal sedan style. It's a little bit limited. Also in the width. This is 80 centimeters here, this folding ruler, and 32 inches, so a little bit more than that, but not more. And the length, this is quite okay. Here, normal length, 40 inches or a little bit more than a meter. However, the height is really the limiting factor here with around 16 inches or 40 centimeters. However, that's quite nice. Here, one more spot for your charging cable. And then here with pressing the key, here we go, 80 liters more of storage space in the front. You can use that one, or you can have another charging cable box in there for a different charging cable or something. Welcome to Thomas's electrified driving lounge here with the Porsche Taycan in the base model, the rear-wheel drive model. And we will test it on the German Autobahn, of course. That's what we have to do. Yeah, I mean, I have to do it at least. Go to the Sports Plus mode. Then we also have this electrified sound automatically, and let's see if the rear-wheel drive only model can still make passengers go mad. So we'll see. These cars passed, starting at 30 kilometers an hour, and goodbye everyone. That's 170 kilometers an hour. It was nice, and yeah, you can still impress your passengers with that, no problem. So, I mean, it wasn't that extreme as we know from from the Porsche Taycan Turbo S. That was around 3 seconds. The 4S then 4 seconds something, and here in the 5 seconds something area. I mean, it's not super extreme, but it's still reasonably good. And if you think about that, you save a lot of money if it's not that fast, totally fine. And also a little bit better in the energy consumption. You can also score some 20 kilowatt hours on 100 kilometers. So like some 30 kilowatt hours on 100 miles. So you will end up more or less the same range of about realistic 400 kilometers or 250 miles. Just that it's even easier or more realistic to reach that one if you compare it to the all-wheel drive model. So here just that one electric motor in the rear, but also 2-speed transmission. Sometimes you also realize that while accelerating that there's kind of a shift in between. This time it wasn't that notable. Not sure, I have to scroll back in the video myself. Yeah, but for example, when I did the acceleration with the Audi e-tron GT, that was more notable. Here then at 80 kilometers an hour, you realize that super fun slalom, definitely. It's your passengers are always a good G-force indicator, you know. So you yourself as a driver, you can always hold onto your steering wheel, and you know what you're doing, but your passengers can't, you know. And here in the tunnel, by the way, you can see again the illumination. I think a little bit more ambient lighting would have been cool with that one. And let's test the sound here in the tunnel once more. Here difference, normal mode, there's nothing. And then Sport Plus mode, where you have the electric sound. It's like a little bit, but not that extreme. So rather subtle, I think. You can also play around with that in the menu, and it's not even standard. What's another option with this vehicle here today, by the way, is also the rear axle steering. That is also an option for the rear-wheel drive model, and it makes the car so much more agile. It's really cool. It has a more agile feeling when driving at slower speeds, and a more, stability-driven feeling when driving higher speeds. Really cool. And we also have the air suspension here today. The base model Taycan would also start with a normal adaptive suspension, steel base suspension, but air suspension also available in here for the base model. So if you ask me, you can have as much fun with this Taycan as with the others. Here, look at that. I mean, what a great handling. The steering is so super precise and feels super natural at the same time. And I mean, you're not even realizing the speed you're going. Good that the passenger screen also has the speed indicator, and accelerating out of the corner is just awesome. And that could be something speaking for the rear-wheel drive model when you want intentionally to have that rear-wheel drive, because with the all-wheel drive you're getting also not only pushed but also pulled out of the corner. And here with the rear-wheel drive model, you would rather have the pure Porsche feeling, just being pushed out of the corner together with the rear axle steering then. At some point, yes, it's not that fast, but then again, rear-wheel drive only can also boost the fun. Woo! Yeah, really nice. In the Sports Plus mode, the stability control is also being drawn back a little bit, so you can play around with the car a little bit more. But at the same time, you always have a very, very controlled feeling. Low center of gravity due to the heavy battery. We also have the upgraded battery in here, so you can get the same battery size also for the entry-level model. So you have to say, from a rear-wheel drive aspect, more driving fun. Acceleration-wise, yes, a more extreme driving fun than with the turbo models especially. But if you ask me, if you can save a lot of money, you can easily go for this one here. Oh, there's the police. Checking speed. Shall we catch them? Call the police! Not for me. Okay, that was the ambulance. So now 90 kilometers an hour. When we are at speed, let's see if we can catch the police. Let's go. Now 200 kilometers an hour, 125 miles an hour, and there's still something happening. So yeah, still good performance here from the entry-level model, if you can say so. So stable on the road, he had higher speeds and not even loud. I mean, great noise insulation, although an engine sound is missing, and it's still somewhat comfortable from the suspension, so it's not getting rough. It's sporty, yes. Tires are hooking up greatly, although it's still with winter tires here because the winter came back suddenly. Wow. And then recuperation. Woo! Yeah, let's get back some energy, because one of the fastest ways to fill this car up again is to use the brakes. And the thing is, with the recuperation, they have not set it on a way that you have much recuperation. So in the Sports Plus mode, there is some recuperation. Otherwise, when you are in a normal mode, you have to hit this battery button here, left side of the steering wheel, and there's some recuperation when lifting the throttle. But that's not their philosophy. Porsche philosophy of recuperation was use the brakes. And then not the real brakes are being applied. First, all the recuperation possibility is being used. 265 kilowatt with this vehicle, 290 kilowatt even with the Turbo S. And that's in most of the cases faster. I mean, the maximum fast charging capability is 270 kilowatt hours. And this can not often, be reached. And usually at the normal charging station, maximum 11 or 22 kilowatt. So braking is really a very effective way to gain back energy. So when you roll down a steep alpine hill or something, battery is supposed to be full once again. Of course, at some point you have to get up the hill first, but definitely a lot of fun and so precise also in braking. You don't feel the transition between when the recuperation is happening and the real brakes are being used. Once again, awesome experience. All right, one more time. Sport Plus mode, driving up the hill. Let's see how that rear-wheel drive turns out here. Precise steering, hairpin corner, good drive out of the corner, super natural feeling. So this is something they really achieved with their EV here, that you don't miss any, natural combustion engine feeling or so. And I mean, the torque is always instantaneously there, even though the rear-wheel drive model here doesn't have so much power. Yes, nice. I'm not sure if you could realize it on camera, but little wheel spin in the rear, but you hardly have wheel spin with that vehicle because the weight so much pushes it to the ground. So a lot of traction. So unless you're in, in the Alps or in Minnesota or something, you won't miss the all-wheel drive because you will still have enough traction, especially when you go with the normal driving modes and so on. And yeah, a lot of G-forces are being applied. Definitely, you will more realize it once again as a co-driver. Yeah, and then nice acceleration out there, interesting electric sound. Wow, this car feels so light, although it is so heavy due to the battery. Awesome driving feeling. And now there's the closest hairpin corner. There's no one coming, so there's dog, so to be careful of that. Interesting parking spot. So safety first always here, but we have one more cool corner coming up. And let's see, once again, now sharp turn, and yes, here we go. Awesome. Nice. Like that. I mean, we could also deactivate the traction control, but we usually leave that then for closed circuits. Of course, once again, safety first, but even here in the Sports Plus mode, some hooning around is possible. And once again, what kind of driving fun we have here already with base model. But I would say, like cornering, agility-wise, probably even more fun with the base model. Just that you don't have this extreme acceleration, but I can easily live with that. And now to our conclusion for today with the new base model of the Porsche Taycan. If you can call it base model, of course, it's not cheap at all, but it's way cheaper than the other models. However, our test vehicle here can also easily score some 140k then with so much extra equipment, but you don't have to go for that. And I would really advise you, just take the base Taycan, enjoy the rear-wheel drive that's typical for Porsche, and out of the corners, I would even say it's a little bit more fun. Yes, this extreme acceleration, this oh my God, I'm not sure where, where I'm ending up, you know, with the electric acceleration with the Turbo S or something. That's not present here. Still, it's performant, and maybe have some more cornering fun with more this, you know, kind of purist feeling. And I think it's a good idea to spec a Porsche in a more purist way. You get the same design, you have the same great agile driving handling. It's so much fun to drive this vehicle. Comparing to the Audi e-tron GT, we've meanwhile also driven. You can also check out this video, will be linked in the video description. The Audi e-tron GT has a better user interface on the interior, that's cooler. On the exterior, it's definitely a question of design. And as for the power ratios, you can also pick different models right there. So both somewhat stay close. The interior is animal free, both possible, you know, with both vehicles. But Audi had a little bit more effort in doing that than Porsche. But here the Racetex interior is also pretty cool, so you should go for that. Definitely very interesting review for today. Also check out other Taycan reviews. Once again, video description, and please use the comment section to talk about this Taycan rear-wheel drive model. See you there. Thank you so much for tuning in today.